to go back real quick to 2018, right? And you had that infamous interview at the Breakfast Club where you said that you only feared God and the feds, right? And then a day or two later, you got arrested.
Yes, sir.
Can you kind of take us through like the things leading up to that interview and then you firing your entire team and then the feds coming and picking you up?
Yeah. So that was on November
2018.
16th, November 16th. It was a Friday, November 16th, 2018.
And your album was supposed to drop too around that time.
Yeah, it was supposed to drop like that week later. It leaked.
Yep.
So, you know, I found out the whole time that like that, you know, when I met Nine Trey and all that, around that time, that November of 2018, I found out like these wasn't really my brothers like that. You know what I mean?
What are the top things that made you say, holy shit, like these dudes are betraying me?
I mean, mostly
at that time.
At that time,
yeah,
mostly, you know, I already got kidnapped by my mans. So if you pull up the YouTube video and I got kidnapped by Harv,
yep,
I'm saying his name in the video. I'm like, yo, Harv, chill, bro.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If I didn't know who kidnapped me, would I say? I would be like, yo, chill, what y'all want? You know what I mean?
Yep.
I wouldn't say no names. I knew my man was kidnapping me.
How'd you find out?
Nigga, I'm looking at the nigga in his face. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So for those, let me give context to everybody.
Crazy.
Yeah, let me give context to everybody. Basically, his guy was working with the feds, and the truck was wired up. And when he was getting in the car, they came and they bum rushed him to rob him, and they put him in the car, and everything was recorded.
Yeah, it was
unbeknownst to him, he didn't know though. You don't get credit for that. Everyone thinks he's the one that snitched, but the reality is someone he knew was snitching, and they had their car wired up, and that's how they got the kidnapping on video.
They gonna skip that. They gonna skip that part though.
Yeah.
Okay.
They gonna skip that part.
They will skip that part.
So like my shit is like.
So he had no idea that your guy was working with he was a Mexican, right? He had a paper problem? Like
he ICE picked him up.
Was it your driver?
It was my driver. ICE picked him up. ICE had him in detention for a month and said, we're ready to deport you. His wife and kid was like, you know, his wife was Dominican, no papers.
Yep.
His son was born here. So they used that and said, listen, we're sending your wife back. We're sending you back, your wife back, and your son is going to go into foster care.
Let me say this. As someone that used to do that, whenever I had someone that had their status was like that, it was the easiest to flip them into an informant.
Yeah, because
so he had no choice. He was like, they're like,
is that my son? Is that my son or the nigga you drive around?
Yeah.
Yep. That's why they cooperated. That's why he cooperated. So like, people never talk about that though. So when he got kidnapped, that car was wired up, unbeknownst to him and unbeknownst to Harv and the other dude.
Now,
that came.
why the first time I look at the chat, they said W Ice? That shit is crazy. Yo, what the fuck?
Oh, yeah, these dudes are real trolls, bro.
Yeah.
So okay, so you're okay. So you did that Breakfast Club interview, and you had already been kidnapped and everything else like that.
Yeah,
and you knew who did
I
it,
got
all
kidnapped July 22nd, July 21st, 22nd of 2018.
Yep.
Why didn't I tell then?
Yeah.
Give me a Don DeMarco.
So take us through. So okay, so you're there doing the interview. They had already. What else had they done at that
Wait,
point?
what was that?
Okay, remember we did an interview with Academics and Wack?
Oh, that was in your studio.
No, hold on. We got to
The
do
old
this real
one.
quick.
The old one.
You can spell it real quick. So for old time's sake, Danny, we need to do this one more time. That's for old time's sake. Good old times, bro.
I only attacked the
In the old studio. Here we go.
Oh yeah.
Fair use.
people that's coming for me. I said, yo, I fired security 8 months ago. If I walk out of here and the niggas come from behind me, out the staircase, that was what supposed to happen.
Listen, nigga, I don't know what kind of gun that is.
Yo, question.
Yeah.
Are you cool with Wack 100?
Yeah, that's my boy. Let me call him right now.
Cool.
I'm calling him right now.
Yo, why do you call him a police person, a fed?
I mean, cause that nigga just goes against the grain. I feel like, you know what I mean? Like,
But he's not.
I mean, I don't like, like, you know what I mean? Like, he cool. Like, to me, he cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people could
He managed you for a bit, right?
Nah, he never managed me. We just did business together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the 2018 thing. Okay, so you go to Breakfast Club.
So I go to Breakfast
So you got kidnapped at this point, and then you figured out that your team had done some bullshit. What else did you know?
So the July
at that time.
Yeah,
at that
July
time.
21st, 22nd. You know what I mean? I found out, but I was like, yo, I'm gonna keep it in the street. You know what I mean? Like blah blah blah.
Do you know about Shadi and Melina?
So I found that out November 16th. That the night of that, like they confirmed it. Like fuck, I forgot the guys. The intel. There was like, you know how NYPD. It was like a task force with NYPD.
Yeah.
HSI and ATF.
Okay, so this is before your interview.
It was after.
After
they confirmed it, but I was.
So you had a suspicion at that time when you did the interview.
I already went through Shadi's phone. Remember?
Yeah.
I explained it. So coming from LA back to New York, I already went through Shadi's phone and seen the messages. So with that kidnapping, and then when we got into court, they played the wiretap. You know what I mean, for me, and they were like, you know whose voice that is? I was like, is that Mel, Shadi, Jim Jones? And they were like, absolutely right. And I'm like, so they was talking about like the super violate, yo, feed him. And he's like, I'm gonna feed him.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, but they're gonna skip that part.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
So, all right, so you're at the interview. You already know all these things that are happening, right?
Yeah.
Is that what, obviously, anyone would fire them after that, but what else did you know that they had wronged you? Did you know they stole money from you at that point?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I made the video, like, yo, I fired my whole team, right? You want me to show it to you?
I remember it.
All right. I was walking in the street.
That was after your interview, right? Or before?
That was a little bit before my interview.
Okay. Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
It was around
before,
that time.
Around that time.
Yeah.
Before or after. I did a business with these promoters, and they were like, yo, you got to come do these shows in Houston or Dallas or wherever the fuck, right? It was down south. And I was like, I ain't going. I ain't get paid. And it was like, and they sent me the wire. They sent me the wire slip. Like, nigga, we paid you. And I'm like, that shit never got to me. And it was wired out to them.
To Shotty.
Yeah.
So he took the money, never told you you had a show.
No, they didn't take all the money, but they didn't give me the full amount that the promoter sent. So it would say the show was like 160. It was like 90,000.
That they gave you.
Yeah, but it was like, well, not just that promoter. It was like all the promoters.
Gotcha.
All of them.
Yeah.
That's a finesse.
But I didn't give a fuck because I didn't know the money I was getting was money I never touched. So it was like,
good.
it was good money. Yeah. But if I knew I was getting the double, the triple, I'll be pissed. You know what I mean? Because I take care of y'all niggas already. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
that's not a friend, bro.
yeah, that's not a friend.
That's not a friend.
And a lot of people think, like, and let's slow this down, right? If you got a soundbite right now,
Slow it down.
like if you got a soundbite right now, just to give it so they could clip this after, I'm gonna talk to the chat.
Yeah,
How many people we got in the chat?
Yeah, we got a lot. Between all the different platforms, that's just...
All right.
Yeah,
So
go
listen,
ahead.
I want to put my camera on, right? To the people, the haters, you know, the dick riders, the sheep that feel like, oh, you know, that just don't like me. Just hear this clip right now. For the people that think it's extortion or whatever, right? You could look at it that way. That's cool. When you up, take care of your man, bro. When you up, take care of your man. When you fully know you situated, your family situated, if you feel that's your man, take care of that nigga. You know what I mean? Take care of your right hand, your left hand, because one day you're going to need them to scratch your back. You know what I mean? Take care of your man. Now, because the situation played out, my situation played out, where, you know, they was betraying me, and they was like, oh, no, they was extorting. I wasn't extorting, nigga. I'm taking care of these niggas, right? There's a greedy niggas. These is greedy, dirty niggas. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So these niggas already, you know when you eat so much food and you full, but you just don't want nobody else to eat, so you keep eating?
Yep.
You ever seen, what's that shit called? Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, right? Right? And it was that fat kid that fucking
Kept eating.
had chocolate, and then when he offered the kid that had no chocolate, like, you want a piece? He was like, yeah, I want a piece. He was like, well, tell your parents to go get you a piece. But
Yeah.
that was Shotty and them niggas. That was them dirty niggas, right? They was eating, but wanted more and more and more. Those is rats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a rat. So if I'm taking care of niggas around me, you don't got to do that.
So when you go to do the interview, you had already been kidnapped. You knew that he had been having sex with your baby mother. Yeah. And you knew that they stole money from you at this point.
Yeah. At that point, yeah.
At that point, that's what you knew. These
Before
three things.
before I got arrested.
What was the biggest violation of them that made you say, fuck these guys, I'm cooperating?
I think it was the one that sealed the deal was the wiretap, because remember that Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, Saturday I got picked up by HSI.
And I was going to ask you about that day too, but keep going with the wiretap.
That Saturday, no, that's what
the
sealed the
wiretap
deal.
was sealed the
That's
deal.
what sealed
When
the
they
deal.
said we're going to super violate them.
Yeah, no, but and then hearing like, yo, feed that nigga. You know, I'm a street nigga. So
Yeah. Can you tell the audience, because they might not be from New York and we got a lot of people from all over the world, what does feed that nigga mean?
feed
for
that
them?
nigga is like hit that nigga, like
Okay.
like shoot that nigga, and I'm gonna feed him. You know what I mean? When you feed him, it's like you feed him a hot one. Like, yo, I get like. You know what I mean? Like, I gave him a hot one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, well, you shoot a nigga in the ass, like, you know, he feel like, nah, for real. Like, street niggas gonna know. Like, you know what I mean? So
Now, because I really want people to understand this. So you go to the Breakfast Club interview. You say you only fear God and the feds. At this point, you found out that your manager was having sex with your baby mother. They stole money from you, significant amounts. They put
Kidnapped
it
me.
on you to kill you.
Yeah.
You heard that on a wiretap. And they had kidnapped you at
Yeah.
this point. And you were looking at 45 years.
so how I'm a rat.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm trying to
But
say.
people never put that in context of all this shit that happened to you before you decided to cooperate.
Listen to me. That's just that right there. What you said, they clipped that right there. People don't like that, so they like, damn, we gonna have to like him, but we don't want to like him, so just don't hear it. Don't let that clip go viral. When the IRS seized all my stuff, right? That shit was everywhere, right? But the negative shit that they like, damn, we don't like this nigga, so let's just everybody post that. But the shit to make me look good, to be like, yo,
They don't post.
they don't post.
So hold on, Danny, let me go through this then. So you get arrested by HSI on Saturday.
Yeah. No, on a Sunday,
On a Sunday.
November 18th.
And I want you to, this is going to be some insider stuff here, but were you planning to go to Mohegan Sun in Connecticut to go to the casinos?
It was Foxwood.
You were going to, Foxwood, same area.
Yeah,
Mohegan,
and well was performing at Foxwood or Foxborough, whatever the fuck shit's called in Connecticut.
it's a Connecticut. It's a casino. Foxwoods and Mohegan, it's all casinos over there. So you were planning to go there that weekend, right?
So it was that Sunday. He invited me to go perform with him, do a surprise
Are you
performance.
cool with him
that
now or
Sunday.
no?
Nah, I'm not cool.
So when they picked you up, why did they pick you up on that Sunday? Because that's not normal for feds
Because
to
they
make that
told me
arrest.
don't go.
Yeah. Okay.
They told me don't go. I don't talk facts, bro.
No,
He ain't lying.
Cause he knows the intel.
He knows the case.
He knows the case. But it's no, bro. You know what's hard? I'm gonna tell you this, and this for the viewers, cause it's my first time doing the Fresh and Fit podcast. What makes you a good liar? You gotta remember your lie.
Yep.
Right? Yep. When you speaking the truth is always gonna stay the same. So now you just gotta remember the truth. If I tell you on a Saturday of November 17, 2021, I was at Booby Trap, right? Right? And then you ask me again 3 months later, yo, where was you at November 17, 2021? And I was like, nigga, we spoke about that. I was at Moxie's. I gotta remember my lie,
Yeah.
right? The truth always stays the same. So like he said, why was you arrested last Sunday, right?
He's honest.
It's just facts, bro.
So let me ask you this then. So you were going to go, when did they warn you not to go to Connecticut to the casinos?
Well, that was a Sunday, November 18th. They picked me up, I don't know, like around, because they was just parked in front of 6IX9INE, I believe it was, between Grand Street, between Lorimer and then is...
Did they pick you up at your mother's house?
No.
Where?
They picked me up, I forgot where they picked me up. It was one of the apartment I had on Ainsley Street or Pinehurst in Lido Beach.
Okay. So they picked you up.
So I went. They picked me up. I went
and it was
to
because you refused to. It's because you refused to listen to them. You were going to go to the casino.
Yes. So they told me, yo, there's a big threat on your life. They already had intercepted the wiretap.
Yep. They didn't tell you though, right?
They didn't tell you what exactly.
They just told you your life's in danger.
So what did I say? I didn't hear the wiretaps till I got to court. Right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I was like, nah, nigga, I'm gangster, nigga. And they was planning to violate me while I'm free. They just couldn't get to me. You know what I mean? And it's just the way I move. So they told me like, yo, there's a big threat on your life. We offer you protection. And I'm like, nigga, I ain't taking that shit. And they were like, well, we're going to put you in a hotel room with mad, law enforcement to protect you. Now, we're not saying that this is not going to kill the case. We're still going to prosecute you.
Yeah.
You're still investigating. But we're trying to save your life here.
At that point, had you decided that you were going to cooperate, or were you still like, nah, I'm not talking to y'all?
I left that night.
Okay.
I left that night.
So they gave you that offer and you said no?
I'm not going to say where, but I left that night from Chelsea Piers. You know Chelsea Piers in the city?
Yep.
I left that night. And they were like, all right, well, you don't want our protection? We're going to have, remember, if I was to die around that time, their bosses, their supervisors, give them hell.
Well, here's another thing too, and I'm going to tell you this because I think this is a very unique interview. Yeah. This is a rare time where someone who was a target of investigation is getting the insider stuff. The reason why they arrested you, bro, that day is because it would have been a nightmare to watch you on surveillance in Connecticut while you were at the casinos. That's why they had to arrest you that day.
Say it again.
So the reason why they picked you up before you can go to Connecticut, and for those that are listening in, basically they knew that they were going to try to kill him. They heard on the wiretap. Whenever you're doing a wiretap and you hear a credible threat on someone's life, you have to notify them by law, right? And disclose. And that sucks because you reveal your investigation. Obviously, he was one of the targets on the case and everything else like that, but to tell him. By him saying, I'm going to go to Mohegan, was the HSI New York office investigating the case. They would have had to go to Connecticut, notify them, notify the tribal police that run that area, because it's sovereign land technically, because it's casinos owned by whatever.
Wow.
So it would have been a nightmare to follow him around and keep him protected in Connecticut. So they probably pulled the trigger and said, fuck it, we got to get this guy because it's better arrest him now instead of him getting killed in Connecticut. And then it's probably going to be a shootout. Everybody's going to get hurt, right? And it's a public area. So that's probably why I would estimate, I'm pretty sure 90% that's why they picked you up that day.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now you know.
Yeah. So that Sunday, I got in the car and I'm like, yo, go straight, make a beeline to Foxwood or whatever fish it's called. And the officer was like, get out the car. He's like, you're being arrested right now. You have the right to remain silent. I'm like, nigga, what the fuck? For what? You know what I mean?
Now you know why.
Like, yeah, and then that. But yeah, that's how it happened.
Yeah.
Wow.
Shit. Looking back, right? Obviously, that probably pissed you off because you were gonna maybe perform or make some money or whatever you had plans that weekend. Do you thank God that they picked you up before you could go?
Everybody always asks me this question: do you regret whatever? How'd you feel when you got arrested? Nigga, I was like, thank God.
Nigga, bro.
Word, nigga.
Hey, did you sleep on the right?